Hi, this is Robert from Hush Performance, and today we're going to be working with our cable to hydro conversions. This right here that you see is our V2.5.1, which is our newest version, our best fit so far. Very happy with the generations of conversions that we've been able to come up with, and in each version we're able to refine that just a little bit more and add a little bit more adjustability in terms of just all around quality and fitment. As you can see here, we use high quality components. You're not going to have any issues with nothing working. There's years and years of R&D involved with this particular conversion. Each piece is hand selected for the best fit. This is, as you can see, this is pretty much how it's going to come in the mail. First thing you can do is just by breaking it down, which will unravel here our clutch master cylinder, feed line, and pressure line here. We got everything assembled in the direction that it needs to be going, so it gives you the optimal idea of how it's going to be going in. Along with our conversion bracket itself, all the hardware is in its proper place, and in this video we're going to be showing you how the conversion works and where the hardware goes and how to install it on your pedal assembly. When you get your conversion, everything is sent loose, nothing is tightened, so keep that in mind when you're installing this. So first thing you want to do is break it down. You want the clutch master cylinder loose from the other components, so you can break off the feed line and the pressure line. Just set those aside for right now. And what we want to focus our attention on here is this label here that I put around the clevis pin here. All right, what it is basically letting you know, and it will read, bore out the hook to fit the clevis pin. Once the clevis is exposed, begin to remove the clevis from the clutch master cylinder, such as this. The clevis needs to be free because we need to pull the clevis pin out. The clutch master is now free. Now the clevis is exposed, and we're going to get into why we need to break this piece down, and I'll be getting into that shortly. With the seat removed, we're going to have better access to the steering column. We've already loosened the bolts in the seat. We're going to go ahead and pull those out. Once we have the seat out, we're able to lay down on the ground and start the installation by removing the steering column first. Now that the seat's removed, we're able to get in here. You want to start by removing the fuse panel right here underneath the steering column. Once that's removed, you can actually access the fuse panel. Once we get the fuse panel unbolted, we're going to unplug all the sensors and plugs that go into that, and then start removing the steering column. I'll take another shot from underneath so you can see how we're going to do that. Okay, as most of you are going to be doing this yourselves, I would be the first to say this is not the easiest installation. Please don't quote me on how to do this or your ways to do it. I'm just trying to help you out, get a good idea on how to do it. Okay, so first off, to get the steering column down, you have these pieces right here. The fuse block has already been removed. We have this piece here that kind of holds the tilt. Your steering column may or may not have that. Up underneath the steering column, let me show you how I'm getting here. Alright, this is the bottom half of the steering column. And there's going to be 4 bolts that are holding in the top of the steering column, so try to understand like how this shot's going to work so you can see them. So right there's one right here. There's going to be another one just behind it, and there's going to be 2 more just like it on the other side, just like that. So get those bolts out and the steering column should drop. The idea of undoing the fuse box was to actually unbolt the ignition switch. This is right here, which kind of faces up in this area. So once it's unplugged, it kind of gets out of our way, and our steering column has more room to drop, giving you more room to pull the pedal assembly out. Okay, now with those bolts removed and the nuts removed, this is the last one I got out. You can drop the steering column. It might get hung up on the studs hanging from the dash, but you'll be alright. Once you move the steering column up out of the way, along with the ignition switch, or unplug like I was suggesting, along with the steering column or the fuse box, you can see how there's plenty of room to work here. Now we're going to start removing the vent tubes, which I'll take another video shot from underneath to remove the vent tubes, and then we can start removing the pedal assembly. Okay, with the steering column removed, this is basically what it looks like and what we're going to be working on now. Here we got the tilt fixture here. We're going to unbolt right here using this 12mm bolt. Take this bolt out. It drops this piece here, giving you plenty of room to remove these vent tubes that are right here. And honestly, these vent tubes literally just pull out of the way, as you can see how loose they're getting just by me tugging on them. And literally it's just like that. Both of those come out just as easy. We need those out because the pedal assembly has a hidden bolt just up there, just above that other vent tube like I was showing you. We're going to pay attention to that. But we'll go ahead and start taking this out and get back to you. Okay, our steering column's down. The vent tubes that crosses this area here, right in front of the pedal assembly, that needs to get removed so we can get to this bolt up here. It's removed, but we still have the fresh air vent stuff and the tubes that feed the driver's side vent. These are the parts that I was saying that may or may not fit after your installation. In most cases, we have all the nuts removed from our pedal assembly now. Now, this is, for me, the easiest way to get to that neutral safety switch that we were talking about. Is tucked underneath the vent tubes. Here, now we have access to it. We just simply unplug it, and we won't be using this guy anymore, and we'll show you a video why we won't be. Yeah, it can be a little difficult. It's probably never been removed in its life. Just move those vent tubes out of the way. You might get hung up on the brake booster just a bit. There we go. Once you get out of there with all those, just make sure no lines are in the way. Get the vent tube out of the way. Pull your light out of the way or any tools. Then you should just be able to pull this guy out like this way. And just pay attention to the way you pull it out, because it's going to be the reverse order. The same way you're going to pull it in. You might get hung up on a few things. Just pay attention to what you're doing. And you see I got it out now. Now we can start the preparation. Here's our pedal assembly that we've already removed from our vehicle. The hardware that I'm moving now is what's going to be replaced in our kit. This right here, the infamous neutral safety switch. But each and every one of you I spoke to, and I explained to you that this piece actually will get replaced. And here's the reason why. Our kit was actually built to retain the neutral safety switch, but in testing we noticed that the switch actually fails as a retainment bolt. So what we're doing is we're providing you with one to replace it with. Here we have a neutral safety switch cut open, and this is why. Basically the metal is just not strong enough in the area. This had failed on our version 1s. With the version 2s and version 2.5s, or the V2.5, it has not failed. However, just as a contingency, in case it were to, we just ask you just to replace it with the hardware. Here's another important part about our conversion. This is a 91 pedal assembly. The difference between the 91, especially at the 91 SI, is this internal clutch return spring. With our conversion, you're actually going to be removing the spring just like this. Our conversion bracket just doesn't fit in the same area as this does. And I'll show you the difference between the 91 SIs or EXs versus the style with the outside return spring, which I mentioned on our Facebook page. The spring's actually here on this particular one. This is an 89 to 90 non-SI, and as you can see the return springs on the outside on this. There's no big deal on the other conversion or the other pedal assembly, because our clutch master will have the spring in it to return the clutch arm to its starting position.